My name's Matt. I started the nutrition program with Jenny from probably June up through December at the time. I was doing my medical school clinical rotation, so I was working probably about 60 to 90-hour weeks, depending on the week. But I started noticing that for the first time in my life, I started gaining like a ton of weight, and I noticed that a lot of it was due just to inactivity, just I was standing around during surgeries and then trying to eat whenever I had time. Usually what I was eating was just the first thing I could find. Didn't really care what it was. I was so hungry. So I would either go all day without eating and then come home and binge, or I would just eat a lot of, not necessarily junk food, but just too much of stuff that's not the best, at the hospital cafeteria or whatever. So I started noticing that my clothes didn't fit as great. My scrub tops definitely didn't fit as good. And so I just started noticing that, man, I feel terrible. My energy level was going down. At that point, I just started noticing, okay, I can't do this on my own anymore. I need to get help, a professional. So I found Jenny online, and we started up in December of 2019. So initially, I was frustrated just because I kind of lost the sense of, what it meant to just eat like a real meal because of my schedule. And I just completely neglected what it meant to sit down and do like a real meal preparation and take the time to enjoy what I was eating. I mean, I would probably average the amount of time I had to eat meals is probably under 15 minutes, for all three meals. So I totally lost that sense of enjoying food and not overeating, just enjoying what you're eating. The most frustrating thing was, and you were always there for me. I remember we started some of our phone calls like at 8 o'clock at night after I get home at like ridiculous hours. And the hardest thing was just kind of getting my body out of that cycle of eating really bad foods and then either binging or crashing. So I needed to kind of do a complete reset on how I addressed, my eating behaviors. Definitely the cravings were very tough in the beginning. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be, especially with all the hours I was working, but you had to start at some point, and you were definitely there to help me through the whole thing. I remember when we first started, you definitely made it clear this isn't a program for one size fits all type model, and it was very tailored towards my lifestyle and how I was approaching my eating habits. The first things you talked about was kind of forget about everything and treat yourself nice. Don't be too hard on yourself or just have a couple bad days or whatever, but as long as you put in the work, and then you were always there for me. It didn't matter what we had a phone call, it would be you make the time to adjust to my schedule, which was awesome. And then you would always send me little messages or little motivational videos to kind of keep me on track, keep me focused. But the biggest breakthrough was probably at the end of the second month, maybe sometime in the third month, where I started noticing that if I ate healthy and I ate what I was supposed to eat after about 2 to 3 weeks, I felt completely different. I felt so much more efficient. I felt cleaner. I felt way more energy. It helped my sleep and it just helped me stave off the cravings through the day. And then I would just look forward to eating healthier. And it was just kind of a rolling sense of confidence that the more you do it, the easier it's gonna get. And then you were always there to help me throughout the way. So it was definitely a teamwork type of thing. So if I did what I needed to, you would definitely reinforce the behaviors, and then each week you would kind of add different things into my repertoire. Definitely a lot of teamwork, but definitely in the third month is when I really felt like we made a lot of headway.
So how would you say, Matt, that your nutrition and health is now? So 6-7-ish months down the road, how would you feel the difference in where you were and where you are now?
Oh, complete 180. My meals are efficiently planned. I really enjoy making the whole meal now and waiting until all of it's done to put it on the plate and eat it. I completely forgot how good that was to just see that. And when you eat that, also remind yourself that what you just ate is actually a product of your effort that you put in, rather than just eating things here or there, and then your body doesn't really process it mentally about all the good things you just ate. So everything at one time, eating, increasing the complexity of the meals, and then also the variation. 6-7 months ago, I never even would have thought about this. I just would have been on the same track, probably would have gained a ton more weight. But you just really brought back the enjoyment about eating and building up momentum to the point where it's just absolutely automatic now. As a medical student, I'll be done here in less than a year. I'll be a doctor, but I work with nutritionists all the time on the patient floors and for different things. But Jenny's definitely the top notch. She knows exactly what she's doing. She modifies her plan to fit your needs, and it's all about you. Definitely tailors everyone's plans to kind of fit their needs. Anytime you go to buy something or something to improve yourself, the first thing you think is oh man, it's gonna cost a lot of money, or like I don't know if I have like the time to put into this. And for me, it got to the point where I was past that, where I was so, sick of being like out of shape and forgetting how to eat healthy, that, I just put all that aside and said, like, just even the amount of money that I'm going to spend on junk food and whatever else, like, I could spend this towards investing in myself. And that was easily one of the best choices I've ever made. She always talks to you about non-scale victories. So it's like things you can identify in your life that you've changed, that isn't necessarily like losing weight. So like, but it's just like the small things, like talking nice to yourself. But she's always there for you. She's always super supportive. So she's definitely top notch. I would 100% recommend, joining a program into the rest of my life in a good way. I've become like so much more efficient with other things. So like, it works towards food, but also it helps you figure out like what you need to do from like a energy or time standpoint as well. So